Good day, good day, good day, business owners, entrepreneurs, thought leaders, and corporations, and welcome to the Black Business Network. My name is Grant McGaw, CEO of Five Star BDM and host of the award-winning Follow the Brand podcast and TV series. And I am your business moderator for this day on the Black Business Network. The Black Business Network is a 24-hour business network showcasing Black businesses, business owners, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders worldwide. We have speakers from North Carolina, London, Singapore, Africa, Japan, and cities all over the United States. The Black Business Network is a global community sharing its business knowledge to empower, inspire, and educate businesses about business. And today I will be your speaker. My name is Grant McGaw, and I am the CEO of Five Star BDM, and that stands for Brand Development Masters and also Business Development and Marketing. And one of the biggest trends in business development and marketing right now, without question, is artificial intelligence. Most people are not aware of all the different technology stacks that are in artificial intelligence because they are more than what is popular right now, which is ChatGPT, Claude, Grok, and Gemini, things like that. Those are very good foundational models. Those are large language models. But you might be starting to hear about something that is on the horizon, that is in our face right now. And if this is a tool specifically, I would say, used for business development, and that is agentic AI. AGENTIC, agentic AI. And there are tools that are available for entrepreneurs to scale their business and to use these AI-powered agents without writing any code of your own. There are certain things that you can do by yourself, and you don't need to be a technological wizard. You don't need to employ an IT expert to do this for certain things. Obviously, there are certain integrations in your own technology stack that will require some professional help. But just to get acquainted with these tools is very, very important. So why agentic AI matters? This is an important point, especially if you're in sales. And I think every entrepreneur understands the importance of sales, because without sales and marketing, there is no business. So we have found in our study that sales teams right now are spending about 64% of their time on non-setting tasks. Things like setting appointments, getting in front of the customers, getting through the sales cycle, that they're spending more of their time on things not related to this. So this is very important, right? So traditional automation right now, and some of these tools that you may have, it does execute, but it doesn't think. Agentic AI is something that actually reasons, it can plan, it can then adapt like a digital teammate. So think of it as an AI assistant that can actually put together some ideas for you that you wouldn't be able to do on your own. And now entrepreneurs can access these tools without coding. This is huge. This is pretty big, right? So when we think about what is agentic AI, it definitely is an automation that is enhanced with reasoning and with the power of LLMs, what we call large language models, again, like your ChatGPT, but it's now embedded in business processes. That is the key. So it's not just always customer facing. It's not just generating text, not just generating email. It's actually operating in the business in the background, helping you to break down complex tasks into smaller steps so they are consumable. And these are things that can be used for doing search. Things that can be doing to do your scheduling. They can be in your customer relation management tools like HubSpot and things like that. And can run your analytics and your email platforms. And it reflects, this is the difference. It reflects and learns from outcomes. Right now, your LLMs, the reason why they operate, they're like an application on top of a data set, but they're already pre-programmed. When you're using an agentic AI, you are giving it the programming. You become the master programmer within your business to utilize these tools, customize these tools, and personalize these tools for your business. That is a huge benefit for entrepreneurs because it's going to save you time on research. It's going to save you time on emailing. It's going to save you time on scheduling, and time is money, as we know. So you can run these self-optimizing marketing campaigns without you having to do them, or pay attention to them on a minute-by-minute basis. They're actually running in the background, and they're delivering increased value for you, and that is great. And then they can act almost human in certain aspects, right? You don't always want to use your tool to say, hey, I want to trick someone and say this is a human involved. No, it's a tool. We're used to these types of tools. Everybody got used to voicemail when it first came out. Just because it is an agentic AI model doesn't mean that you need to pass along or try to dupe someone to thinking that it's a human that you're interacting with. That's not the point. It is a robot, right? So you want to be able to use it like that and let people know that you're using it like that, because it's going to signal to them that you are top of mind and you're going to access a lot faster growth with fewer resources. And that should ring true for a lot of entrepreneurs, right? So as we segue into no-code tools, you're like, okay, what is Grant talking about? I think I've set the why around you would do this. Again, it's about efficiency, it's about saving time, and it's about generating business outcome in the form of greater revenue, right? So what are some of these no-code tools that you can get started with? There's Agent GPT. I want you to look that up. Just put it in your Google search. Agent GPT. This is a free model to get started. Now that's going to build some autonomous AI agents, and it costs $0 to about $40 a month or so, depending on how much you use it, right? So it's load balanced. There's another tool called Promptly, Promptly, Promptly. Look this up. Go ahead and put it in your Google search, right? Promptly, you can drag and drop a lot of AI workflows, and it's going to cost about $20 to $100 a month. Again, depending on what you're using it for. There's a lot of tutorials there to get you started, but this is a great tool for agentic AI. Another one that's very popular is called Zapier, Zapier. Another free tool. But as you begin to use it, there is a paid component for about $20 to $100 a month or so. That's going to also automate. It's going to integrate some workflows. If you want your agentic AI to be able to read your email, to do your scheduling, you can then actually place this within your CRM like HubSpot, and then also automate your emails. These are the types of tools that you can utilize and even have voice control over it, right? So there's text to speech, things of that nature that are going to help you. And there's another one called Airtable, and that's also Notion, Airtable Notion, and that's going to give you simple data stores for AI. So it's giving you a database about $10 to $25 a month. These are no-code tools that you can utilize to get a better ROI, return on investment. Because think about this, right? If you hired a sales assistant, it's going to cost you anywhere from $45,000 to about $55,000 a year. You can get a AI tool stack. You got to remember what is this sales assistant doing for me, and then you look at what this AI tool stack can do for me. For about $200 to $400 a month, you can get one of these AI tools to do this for you, right? So that's going to be a big advantage if you learn how the API works. This is at a point where you might, if you're going to do it to really replace a human AI assistant, you want to get someone that understands how to integrate your API. This is going to bring everything into balance with one another, fine-tune your integrations, and get some secure hosting for you to deliver the ROI that you need, especially over time. So I would say first get started with it, right? Just so you're familiar with it, know what these tools can do, what they can deliver, and then you fine tune it. You bring someone like 5-Star BDM into the mix. That's my company. Show you how to, first we would assess your current stack, your technical stack. what is it you're trying to accomplish, and then make those integrations for you. And then you understand your ongoing costs that you're going to have. But over time, especially if you don't even have an AI assistant today, this is going to help to elevate you, right? A lot of people are using this for e-commerce to personalize a lot of their campaigns, right? So they're going to see a big increase instead of having those abandoned carts that are seeing right now, sort of certain records or metrics. They're seeing about a 27% uptake. Also on SaaS, if you're a technological startup company, right? You're a SaaS provider and you want to cut down on the qualification time it takes, to grow your pipeline. Right now, we're seeing that instead of 4 hours of work, about 30 minutes. Can you just do the comparison? That 4 hours to do the same thing, you can do it now in 30 minutes to grow your pipeline. So that's about a 3x, 4x, 5x in just 90 days if you deploy it successfully. A lot of consulting firms, very similar to mine, they're doing automated research. So they deploy agentic AI agents, automated research agents, to then find qualified prospects to fit the profile that we're looking for. Your ideal client profile can then be found using these agent AIs. And then I always employ people, get to a human-to-human interaction as quickly as possible. You don't always want to insert the AI as the component that's talking directly with the human for very long. You might do it initially, and it depends on what the information that the human is requiring. You want to get out of the way and bring yourself or someone to bear to get that human-to-human interaction, because that's at the conversion stage. So when it comes to building awareness, AI is very good, and agentic AI is very, very good. When it comes to consideration, utilizing an AI agent is very, very good. But at the point of conversion, you want to have that human-to-human interaction. So make sure that you do that reality check around that when you're implementing these type of tools. I would say, now this is a good question. We're going to segue into implementation, is that people ask, well, how long does it take to learn this kind of thing? If you immerse yourself into being very intentional about learning agentic AI and how you can embed it into business processes, into your technology stack, it's going to take only about 2 to 3 weeks to become proficient in most no-code tools that I talked about earlier, about 2 to 3 weeks. So if you double down for about at least a month, let's give yourself a month, you're going to be proficient enough to deploy a lot of these tools yourself, right? So you want to make sure that you've got your website analytic tools up, right? If you're using Monster Insights or Google Analytics, make sure you have that available. And if you have a CRM, that's going to be even better to utilize it. Bringing those two things like a HubSpot, you got your MailChimp. Now you want to start integrating these things together. So your Zapier, your HubSpot, and your Salesforce connectors, they can reduce a lot of the complexity when you're trying to build these things out. So you got to look at your own tech stack, where you're at now, where is it housed? How can you then access it? And then bringing these entities to talk to one another, and then having like a voice-like interface between you and your AI, your agentic AI assistant that you can talk to, just like you would any other assistant that you may have, to bring you information and insight to you directly into your business, so that you're spending quality time in front of your clients and not, as I said earlier in this discussion, taking the time that you're doing a lot of busy work behind the scenes that's sucking up your time, that are not revenue generating type applications that you should be doing in your business, right? So I want to make sure that that's clear. You're starting to get an understanding of the why. You're starting to get a better understanding of the how. Now you're getting a better understanding, and I'll start to break this down when you start looking at, well, what can go wrong? What is the risk factor? You gotta look at this thing, right? So there are some limitations that you need to be aware of. Like, agents can't replace human strategy and relationships. I'm going to say that again. Agentic AI cannot replace human strategy and relationships. Remember, that is not the point of what you're using the agentic AI for. You want it in the background, running a lot of the business operations that you don't have the time, then what you're not customer facing. So when you're getting to a human facing type application, you want to be in front of that person. Nothing replaces HI, which is human intelligence, right? You got to remember what kind of data do you have. You have to really look at your data, because if data is poor, that's going to be a problem, right? Because your outputs are going to be poor. And if you have oversight on that, you're just multiplying mistakes. So you have to make sure that your data sets that you're integrating and that you're utilizing to make decisions on is accurate, right? So you got to make sure you have backup plans behind that, because if you just let it run and you just don't oversight, the human in the loop has got to be able to approve what is happening, especially if it's customer facing. And if there's some kind of failback, a manual failback that you might have to go to just in case it starts to have certain problems. So you want to avoid these kinds of problems, know what you're doing, understand when you got to bring in a third-party tech provider to help you, because you don't want to pigeonhole yourself into a problem where you self-automated and then it's out of control because you're not taking the time and put in the protections that are needed to make sure that your information that you're giving out is going to be accurate, right? And there are, within these stacks, a lot of security and compliance considerations as well. If you're working internationally, there's GDPR, CCPA, that's going to ensure that your data is correct, and you have deletion rights. So if you got to go in and change things, you got to make sure, is this going to upset the integrations that you have? That's why you, at some point, as you get deeper and deeper into this, you will need someone like myself who understands technology and then been able to implement this solution for you at scale, right, to help you to mitigate some of these problems. If you get into HIPAA, whether it's in healthcare or FINRA, within finance, these are things you need to be understand a lot of if you could get audited for whatever reason, right? So make sure that you understand what you're doing. The other thing, anytime you introduce anything new into a business, there's always going to be the buy-in factor, right? Do the people in the organization want to do this? Are they going to adopt the technology? Because if they do not adopt the technology, the actual implementation will fail. There's no doubt about it. Probably over 70 to 80% of technology that is implemented, especially at enterprise levels, they fail because of user adoption. They just don't buy into it, and they don't use it, so you don't get the ROI out of it. So you want to frame this in the right way, just like in yourself. If you're a solopreneur, you want to frame this as an assistant, not a replacement. It's not there to replace you. It's there to augment what you're doing. If I can do something quicker, faster, better, why wouldn't you do that? That is the point of doing that. If I can what can get me in front of my client faster? What can get me in front of revenue generating activities faster? That's what you want to look at. So it's not replacing you yourself or your employee that you have. You want to give them an assistant to assist them. That's very, very important. You want to assign a lot of checkpoints in this application. So again, if it's human to human interactions, or you want that human in the loop, you want to make sure before it takes that next critical step toward implementation that someone approves it. So you're looking at it. A lot of times when I put it in prompts into AI or ChatGPT, I'm getting some content back. I need to review that content. A lot of times I would use a different LLM like Claude, and I use them in tandem and have them look at the content back and forth to get it to a point where it's at a level that I can make it human facing. So the human in the loop is very, very important, because you've got to be accountable and you have to take ownership of the AI workflow and what it delivers. There's no, well, I'm going to point that over there. That was your problem. Ultimately, it is on you. Just like when you're driving a vehicle, right? You're driving a car, you are accountable if that vehicle then damages someone else's property or something to that effect. You are accountable for your AI workflow and make sure you have that human in the loop for any kind of sign off or approval checkpoint before it leaves your organization and starts touching someone else. Very, very important. And you want to pilot a lot of these things before you start replacing your legacy process that you've done before to make sure that it's working properly and that you have 100% confidence on what it's delivering. So important. And then you want to be able to measure this type of framework, and what I call advanced measurement framework with KPIs, key performance indicators, right? You want to be able to look at these things beyond just what I call the basics. You want to see what the sales cycle now looks, with and without AI, and is it going to deliver the result that you need it to do? What is your customer satisfaction metrics, right? Your net promoter scores, is it lifting? Is it changing? You want to be able to measure these things, and also your customer lifetime value, your CLV. Very, very important to track all these things from a baseline of before and then after your AI augmented workflows are in production. You will review this weekly, monthly to make sure that you see the uptake and that it's delivering the value that you have, right? So very important to do all these things. I do all these things through my Brave framework. Because if you have a framework, you have the basic of a process and the implementation model to make sure you're not going to be making major mistakes. So you want to first identify your brand. What is it you're trying to achieve? What is the goal, the end in mind? What does that look like? Have you done your research? Make sure your research is on point. You research these different tools. You see what they're delivering for other people. What are the results? Are they factual? Can they be applied to your business? Then you start looking at your assets, right? What are the assets that I need to accomplish my goal? Is it going to be authentic? Can I use it all the time? Is it going to be able to be in front of my audience and I can be confident about that? And then can I make it visible? And will it deliver value? And does it have volume and velocity? Very important. Then can I execute on that plan daily? Is it ease of use for me? All these things are very, very important when you're looking at a framework that you're now going to replace what you're already doing today. And you're doing this so you can scale, so you can grow the business to the next level. So as a blueprint, I will give you this as a 30-day pilot blueprint to use agentic AI. So in your first week or two, you want to audit all your inefficiencies, meaning your current state. You want to take a look at that. You want to make it concrete. You want to select a use case within your business that'll set a baseline. What is it that you want to do? What that will deliver value? Do you want to automate scheduling? Do you want to automate any kind of email applications can then bring it back to your attention immediately? How do you augment your things that you're doing for what you have for email today? You start to identify what's important for you that's going to get you in front of your client faster, quicker, better. Right? That'll be in the first 2 weeks. Just do an assessment of the business that can potentially be automated at a certain point that delivers business value. This could be customer experience. It could be in financial metrics. It could be in business operations, sales, and marketing. All these things you need to take a look at, and that what can I do to make it more efficient? And then later in that month, in like weeks 3 and 4, you want to start, I would say, piloting and deploying these no-code agents with oversight. You want to monitor the outputs that you're getting first in the pilot. This is what a lot of people do. You have to have a test bed, right? Right. You have a proof of concept. So you put it in more or less a lab and see how it can work before you put it onto production, right? So you want to take that no code that I talked about earlier, whether it's Zapier, it's Agent GPT, or the like, that you're going to then deploy and then automate and augment some of these processes that are in your business. And then you're going to start measuring all these things. Track the time saved. So it's factual for you, right? Track the time saved, track the conversions that you have. Like, hey, I'm starting to see more and more opportunities close, or I'm starting to see my pipelines getting filled quicker and quicker because I've automated some of these processes within what I'm doing. It could be as simple as, you know what, it takes me to create a PowerPoint today. A PowerPoint deck takes me anywhere, for some people, 4 to 8 hours, or maybe even more, depending on what that is. If I can then take that and do that now within seconds, minutes, or an hour, that's an incredible win. And you can do that with tools. Here's another tool that I've been using a lot. It's called Gamma, GAMMA.app. You can generate a PowerPoint, a professional PowerPoint presentation within seconds, basically. But you have to give it the right information for it to build it to spec, your specification. So it's delivering the communication that you're looking for it to do, right? So these are types of things that you can do and say, this takes something that is takes up a lot of time, but it's simple to then automate by using some of these tools that you can deliver at scale. Very, very important to do this. Now, after you've got it deployed and you feel that you're at a point that you can move it even further, that's when you begin to look at, all right, how do I scale this, right? And you've got to start looking at what we call a post-pilot scaling roadmap, something you now deployed it. Now you want to take a look at it even more. So this is further down the road, months 2 through 6. You've got it deployed. You understand what the problem that it solved. You've deployed it. It is starting to solve that problem, right? Now you're looking in 2 to 6 months. What do you want to then take a look at? You want to expand potentially into other parts of your business that you want to scale, right? Sales, marketing, customer service, that you want to get more use cases to deploy this type of technology. Within 6 to 12 months, like a year, you want to build your internal AI competency, train other people how to utilize these tools. It is becoming more and more imperative to people to understand, just like you learn how to use Excel, you learn how to use Microsoft Word, you learn how to use PowerPoint, these types of tools. You learn the Google Suite. You're going to have to learn these AI tools just like that. And that comes from just utilizing them and understanding that you're now building a cross-functional AI playbook, that you've got AI embedded now in your business processes at scale. So within 6 to 12 months, you want to be at this level. So when you start even looking, projecting out and forecasting a couple of years out, you start looking at your strategic AI integration across your operations, across your finance, across your HR, and your customer support. You will be growing. There is no doubt about it if you follow this type of playbook and you deploy the right resources to get you to your desired state. And note this, when things go wrong, and technology, always you will have some type of hiccups that are along the way, and you have to mitigate for these things. So don't think you just set it and forget it. You can set it and forget it for a while, but just like sometimes your car has a problem, you have to take it to a mechanic. These things are going to happen. So when things go wrong, you want to have like a troubleshooting guide. What do I do in case something goes wrong, right? And these technological limits, or issues, they do come up, if there are data sync errors, reset integrations. How are you going to check these logs? And then what is the tool support that you have, the vendor help desk that you have? These things happen. Your internet goes out, you got to call somebody. They got to come back. They got to come out. They've got to be able to help you within a certain standpoint. But at the same time, what is your plan B? What is your plan C? Did you have import that you can deploy that's customer facing to keep things in operations? People understand that things happen. They're not going to I'm not going to do business with you anymore because all of a sudden your tech is down. They understand that you're going to come back up, that they don't want to go for hours days, months, that's not going to happen. Or you're consistently delivering an experience that's flawed, that's going to be a problem. So you want to make sure what your tool support looks like. You want to identify your technological entities. You want to create a community around what you've got. If you're utilizing OpenAI, you're utilizing Zapier, you want to have these forums that other people are utilizing these tools that you can then begin to tap into their knowledge base. Like, hey, when you deploy this, did you experience this? I deploy this, I experience that. Remember, it goes both ways. If you find something that works, share with other people and vice versa. So you're creating community, you're creating tool support, you're identifying your technical issues, and then you understand your decision points. So if you have to scale back if the ROI starts to drop, you deploy the tool, it sounded great at the time, it looked like it was working, and this happens a lot. People are like, oh, this was new, and they start engaging with it. And then as they engage with it, they start to slow down on that engagement. So if you keep going because you thought you had that initial bump, and then it starts to drop off, you need to pivot. You need to understand you need to have business agility. You have to have flexibility in what you're doing and understanding, because this is still a lot of work in process, and it may have worked for a little bit of time, but not long term. And it's hard to discern that until you get deeper into it. So all of these things you have to take in consideration. And then one of the most important things you want to look at is your competitive differentiation, right? How are you competing in the market with these new tools? That is gold. And you want to be able to say, is this giving me a leg up over my competition? Am I a first mover? Do I have first mover advantage when it comes to capturing market share over others? Do I have proprietary data? Do I have intellectual IP now? Do I have intellectual assets that I can now deploy? Do I have a built out custom data set that I can actually sell to other people? I've created a new revenue stream for myself. This is very important because now you have a unique IP that you did not have before. So you start to look at what you can actually do and operate in all these things. So what are your next steps? I say identify repetitive and time-consuming tasks. Do that first. Identify repetitive and time-consuming tasks. Choose one of these no-code tools that fits your workflow. Agentic GPT, Agent GPT that I talked about earlier, right? Perplexity. These things are very, very important. Zapier. How can you then integrate if you're using ChatGPT into your business process using integration tools, and then launch a 30-day pilot project, right? And then document everything that you have done so you can scale across a lot of your other business processes. So important. Once you start getting into this and you start to realize, you know what? Maybe this is not my particular skill set. I need to understand these things, but I need somebody to help me first get started. This is where you contact 5-Star BDM. That's 5-Star, B for brand, D for development, informasters.com. And you contact me for your business development and your marketing needs. I would do a 30-minute assessment call with you. We'll talk about where you're at, what you potentially could use to automate your particular business. We need to first identify what are potential problems in your business that are limiting you when it comes to revenue generating type activity. This is probably the number one problem within small businesses today. Why do they close their doors within those first 5 years? Ultimately, it comes down to revenue. They're not generating the type of business that they need to sustain themselves. So their business and their revenue generating activities are not in sync. They're not aligned, and they can't concentrate on everything. I can't do sales and marketing, 80% of the time and just run the business. 20%, meaning delivering on the product or service that you have 20% of the time. It's not going to work. You start to understand what you can do when you're first starting out with limited capital, limited budget. What can I do to augment this, to do some automations in my sales and marketing to generate business, to generate revenue, and then I can deliver on that particular product or service that I have at scale. And I can do this either myself, I'm using contract service, or I'm going to hire an FTA, which is a full-time person into my business. All these things are important. I'm giving you this playbook because this is the greatest opportunity for small business. And I'm talking micro businesses for one person, 2 to 10 person businesses, or up to 50 employees to compete at a much higher level than they ever could before. They are projecting right now that we will experience probably in the next 3 to 5 years, the first one person $1 billion business. Think about that. Think about that. You're listening to me right now. You're one person. And as one person, you can generate $1 billion business. I mean, operate $1 billion business utilizing this type of methodology, this type of mindset, this type of tool set, and having this kind of skill set. You need to acquire the artificial intelligence skill sets in order to compete in this new digital world. So important to do that. I again want to thank you this morning for listening to me on the Black Business Network and what we are doing from a mission standpoint to deploy and enable our businesses to compete at a much higher level, to expand and rebuild Black Wall Street. So important. And understand that the Black Business Expo's mission is to raise funds for high school seniors going to college or K through 12 entrepreneurs. This expo is a fundraiser for students, and you may go to www.blackbusinessexpousa.com to donate to the scholarship fund, or use the Cash App that is on the screen below. That is $BBXUSA. Our goal is to give laptops and up to $5,000 to 10 students. And students, you can register online at www.blackbusinessexpousa.com. Every dollar counts. So we want to remind you to donate to the scholarship fund. And we want to thank our Black Business Expo USA sponsors for August 2025. And they do include NC100, Moody Capital Partners, Suede Soul, Lotus Rocher Coaching and Training, Carolina, Virginia Minority Supplier Development Council, Step Management, the Hello LLC, Barbara H. Smith LLC, Margie McLean Foundation Incorporated, Genius is Common, Earth Essentials, Milani Shana Global, 5-Star BDM Media, Banks LLC, Executive Women's Success Institute, The Quality Coaching Company, Superwoman Business Services, Creative Force Studios, Lee Entertainment, Artistic App Design, Black Business Expo USA. Genius is common, and I will see you on the other side.